Okay, so working with balance, let's meet over on the mat on your back. Have your blocks handy, have your TheraBand or strap handy. And if you want a chair for some balance practice, that works as well too. Now let's just begin by stopping, right? So we begin by ending or stopping. And just allow yourself to settle into the mat, to the floor. Take a couple breaths. This idea of just leaving a little space between activities. We'll leave a little space here before we start. Okay. And then if you don't have your legs stretched out long, let's take the legs long, arms overhead, reaching through your heels up, and the same arm reaching back and away. Just opening up the intercostals, especially if you're practicing after waking up. And then you can bring your arms down to your side or out to the T, and then with your legs straight, take some circles with your feet. So just moving in one direction, both feet in the same direction, and the opposite direction. Good. And then you can separate your legs a little bit and let your feet just flop back and forth, kind of like windshield wipers, the little fancy windshield wipers that are on the headlights, right? Not on your windshield or your windscreen. Good. And then you can stop that movement and spread your toes wide, and then pull your toes in towards the soles of your feet. Spread the toes wide, flex the ankles, and then pull your toes in towards the soles of your feet. It's almost like you're making a fist. Just go back and forth with that a few times. And if this creates a little follow through up through your whole body, up to the back of your head, great. A little fascial release work. Okay, good. Shake that out. Bounce your legs like a couple of basketballs. Both at the same time. One and then the other, alternating. Just mix it up a little bit. Good brain work. And then soles of the feet to the floor and a little side to side movement with your knees going side to side. And all of this is it's useful for what we're going to do, but it's also like a scanning process. So use this time to see if you can identify any places that might be unusually contracted. Right, then you can take your left leg long and stretch your right leg across mid body, and then over to the right, and then just move back and forth. And as you do, you could spread your toes in when you go in one direction and curl your toes in when you go in the other direction. Spread the toes, curl the toes in. Spread the toes, curl the toes in. Going back and forth with that action. Right leg coming across the body. Spread the toes, pull the toes in. Okay, and then we'll go to the other side. So left leg come across midline and then over to the left. Spread your toes and draw the toes in towards the sole of your foot. So just getting, some nice big movement through the hips. And then coming back to center and position of comfort, soles of the feet on the floor, knees bent, take the right knee and make some circles. So your right foot is hovering as you circle through your right hip. And then take it in the opposite direction. I'm going to do the same thing with your left knee. So circling, getting some lubrication in the hip. Take it in both directions. And then come back to position of comfort. And now we'll just stack knees over shoulders, interlace hands behind your head. Take an inhale here, and on your exhale, bring your head and shoulders off the floor. Bring your knees in towards your chest. So a little sit up, and then inhale to come back down. Keep the elbows wide, and just repeat this, enough times to feel like you are, your abdominals are coming online, getting some engagement in your core. Try not to use the neck muscles. Try to relax your head in your hands. And then next time you come back down to the floor, cross your right leg over your left. Squeeze your legs together. Inhale here, and on your exhale, bring your knees into your chest. Lift your head and shoulders. Inhale here. Exhale, take your legs out towards the towards the short end of your mat. That's your exhale. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, bring your knees and towards your chest, and then inhale, come back down to the floor. Okay, and you can take one more round of breath while you're lying on the floor, and then on your next exhale, lift knees towards your chest, lift your head and shoulders off the ground. Take an inhale while you're here, and then exhale, stretch your legs longer. Good, and then take an inhale here, and then exhale, squeeze your knees in towards your chest again, your head and shoulders are still lifted, and then inhale back to the floor. You can set your foot down if you need to, and then take one resting breath. We'll do it one more time. Inhale while you're on the floor, exhale, lift head and shoulders, bring knees into chest. Inhale here, exhale, take your legs long. Inhale here, exhale, squeeze everything in together again. And then inhale, set yourself down back down to the floor. Now unravel your legs and stretch both legs long. Just give a little relief to that left hip flexor. And then soles of the feet to the floor. Now it's left leg over right, squeezing. Change the interlace of your fingers to the funny grip. Inhale here, exhale, bring knees up towards your chest and lift head and shoulders off the ground. Elbows stay wide. Inhale, exhale, reach the legs long. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, squeeze everything together. Inhale, come back down to the floor. Take one round of breath as a resting. And then on your next exhale, draw your shoulders off the floor, squeeze your knees in towards your chest. Inhale. Exhale, stretch your legs long. Inhale while you're here. Exhale, bring everything together again. And inhale, set your foot down on the floor. Take one resting breath. Next inhale. Next exhale, bring your knees in towards your chest, lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Inhale here, exhale, reach your legs long. Inhale here, exhale, squeeze everything in. And inhale, take your foot back to the floor, undo your legs, undo your arms, stretch through your feet, Allow your hip flexor to relax. And then we'll need our TheraBand handy, whichever one you want to use, or your strap, and you'll need your 2 blocks handy. So let's just begin with a couple of rolling or cascading bridge shapes. So soles of the feet to the floor, and you'll press into your hips and lift, let your arms come behind. Let this just be, again, a kind of a scanning, coming back down, hips and hands together, or leaving your arms behind you. So just scanning your spine. See how you're feeling there. Okay, before we start to really work with more of engagement in the hips and the glutes. A couple more rounds there. And then you're going to take your strap or your TheraBand or multiple TheraBands if you want. And then the TheraBand goes right below your knees. So just above the shins and below your knees. And then you take your soles of your feet back to the floor. So arms could be in any position here. I'm going to tuck mine in towards my side waist, and my hands are reaching up towards the ceiling. And then as I press and lift, I'm going to pull the TheraBand apart, or the strap. I'm going to pull out against the strap. And then on the exhale, I'll just lower everything down. Okay. So as you lift, break the strap apart, try to break the strap apart, or pull the TheraBand apart, and then lower back down. So you're just going to feel a little bit more engagement in the glutes. All right, we'll repeat this maybe 8 times or so. Pulling out. Now, notice what happens with your feet as you do this. Can you keep the soles of your feet planted firmly on the floor? So you're not lifting to the outside edges, but you're keeping the soles of your feet on the floor. Good. A few more rounds. Next time you come down to the floor, just keep the strap where it is, and now we're going to roll onto the left side. Get my blocks out of the way here. Roll onto your left side. Line the soles of your feet up with your sacrum, and you've got the strap in the TheraBand or the strap in place. This probably won't work with a yoga strap. If you're using a yoga strap, you want to take it off here. But if you have a TheraBand, it'll work. So just those clamshells where you lift the top knee up against the TheraBand and then lower back down. So repeat, 12 to 20 times. The feet stay stacked, touching. And you'll, of course, feel the work in your outer hip. Again, if you were working with a strap earlier, I'm not sure if you can make that work with this little exercise. You can try, but you can always do it without the strap as well. You could even place your hand on the outside of your leg, just give a little resistance as you come up. Good. A couple more rounds. Great, then, but the next time your top leg comes down to rest, see if you can slip your foot into the TheraBand now. Extra points for doing this without your hands. Rest your arm alongside your waist and bring your right knee in towards your chest. And then inhale, stretch the right leg long, reach the right arm over your ear. And exhale, draw your right knee in, engaging the navel towards the spine. And then inhale, stretch the right leg long, reach the right arm over your head. You can come down onto your left arm or stay lifted with your head in your hand. And this is the little vinyasa. If you've got that TheraBand in there, you're going to start to feel some fatigue in your outer hip. All right, so it's in, everything's out. Ooh, yeah. Go to a point of fatigue, go to a point of feeling the muscles start to fatigue. Great, and then we'll roll onto our backs. Reposition, reposition the TheraBand. Roll onto your back and all the way to the other side. So stacking the knees, the soles of your feet lined up with your sacrum. And then you can pull the top knee up and away against the TheraBand, really engaging outer glute. Somewhere between 8 and 12 rounds here. And then from here, you slip the left knee up towards your chest as you put your left foot into the strap. Knee comes in towards chest and your left arm's resting kind of on your hip. And then on your next inhale, you'll straighten the left leg down long against the TheraBand and reach the left arm over your ear. Okay, and exhale brings everything together. On that exhale, draw your navel in towards your midline. So let's repeat this until you feel some good fatigue in the left outer hip. And somewhere around that point, when you start to feel that fatigue, you can come back onto your back, remove the TheraBand momentarily, stretch your legs long, just take a resting breath in Shavasana. Let your feet fall out to the side, let your hips relax here. Great. And then you're gonna have your 2 blocks at the down the short end of your mat by your feet, actually about hip distance apart. Set them up about hip distance apart. You can see that there. And then we'll come back to position of comfort, but now with our feet on the blocks. Feet are on the blocks. Okay. Arms can be alongside you. And now we'll press and lift, pressing our feet into the block, lifting into that bridge shape again, and then exhale, roll down. And inhale, press and lift. Really engage your glutes without over contracting. So no clenching, just really using the outer hip muscles. Repeating. Again, repeat till you start to feel some fatigue. And maybe go just 1 or 2 more. Work with your breath. Let your breath really contain the movement. Okay, and we don't do any standing balancing postures in just an isolated with isolated muscles, even though these are the major this is the workhorse for our standing postures. We still want our whole leg engaged. So go ahead now here and lift your toes off the block. Lift so you're on your heels. And now you should feel, you could even bring your fingers back to where your buttocks meet your the top of your hamstring there attachment, and you feel that really working. So now hamstring involved as well, hamstrings. You got it. Just keep going a little bit more. Let's do 2 more. And then the next time you come down to the floor, go ahead and scoot your blocks out of the way. Bring your feet into a Baddha Konasana shape, knees out to the side. And then relax here. You might, your feet might be pretty far down towards the short end of your mat. That's fine. And just see if you can let go a little bit. And then bring your hands back behind your head. Take a big inhale, arch away from the floor, and on your exhale, just bring knees together and elbows together. Inhale, open up, and exhale, knees together, elbows together, low back into the floor. So there's an arching shape away from the floor, knees wide, elbows wide, and then on your exhale, knees together, elbows together, low back presses towards the floor. A couple more. Okay, then next time you close everything up, just release your hands up to the side, bring your knees in towards your chest, circle your knees around, big circle. So often we sit and we move the upper body in this sort of circular motion, right? So just moving the lower body. So change that direction, change the direction that your knees are circling. And come back to center. Now, if you got that TheraBand, you can take that onto your ankles. Take that onto your ankles. If you don't have the TheraBand, it's not a big deal. We're going to roll onto our bellies. Get everything out of the way here, my little tight space. And lying on your belly with the TheraBand on your ankles, press out against the TheraBand. Press out against the TheraBand. Let's bring forehead to the floor and arms to our sides. And then pressing out against the TheraBand, go ahead and lift your upper body off the floor. Press your palms up towards the ceiling. Locust pose. Pressing out against the TheraBand, you're going to feel that. Right? And we'll hold it for a count of 3, 2, 1. Release down to the floor. And take one ear or temple to the floor. You could lift your feet off the floor here and rock your feet back and forth, rock your hips back and forth. Take your other, turn your head in the opposite direction, temple or cheek to the mat. And then come back to center. We'll do this a couple more times. So legs are long, you're pressing out against the TheraBand. If you don't have a TheraBand, you just press against an imaginary outer resistance, right? With the feet wide. And then lift your hands up towards the ceiling, lift your head and shoulders, lift your legs, press out against the TheraBand. Worth getting a set of TheraBands, easy, $15 on Amazon. And holding this for 3, 2, 1, release. Rock your hips side to side. Turn your head in one direction. Length, a little length in the neck, other direction. And then back to center. Forehead to the floor. Lift your hands, shoulder tops up, and then head and shoulders, and then legs. Press out against the TheraBand. Maybe you can lift the arms a little higher. Maybe press a little harder against the TheraBand. Really feel the work in your glutes and all those other fun piriformis. Really working the outer hips for 3, 2, 1. Come on down. One direction with your head. Rock your hips, and extra points to remove the TheraBand without your hands. Other direction with your head. Very good. And then come back to center, hands to low ribs, press through table, find neutral, and then just bring your hips back towards your heels and then come forward again and just relieve any stickiness here in your back. You could circle this. So you're in a table shape. Maybe the hands are a little forward. And then hands underneath shoulders and knees underneath hips. Take a few rounds of cat-cow. So nice to have these blueprint poses, these poses that we can come back to that really help us find sort of our center again. So cat-cow, a few rounds of cat-cow, and then the next time you're in cow, we'll meet there. Turn toes under, press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Pedal out through your legs. Walk your feet up towards your hands. Come up onto your tippy toes and reach your heels down towards the floor. Maybe they come all the way, maybe not. Come up onto your tippy toes and reach your heels down, and then you can slide your hands back towards your feet and come through at Utkatasana and comes right up to standing. Great. So now you're going to need your, if you want the support of a chair, I think everybody probably would be good to start with a chair or 2 blocks, piece of furniture. We're going to do some little hip dips. And about the seat of the chair is a nice height to start with. And if you don't have a chair that's portable, that's fine. If you're near some furniture, that'll work too. So we'll take our weight into our left foot to begin. And then with a bend in that leg, we're just going to dip down to the chair, touch the chair, right leg comes behind in the air, and then we stand back up. And then we dip down again. Left leg, right leg is reaching back behind. And the left leg can have a little bend in it, but you'll start to feel this. We'll do a few rounds with the chair. Just a little dip. And reach the right leg back. Left leg can have a little bend in it. We're starting to work into some balance now, standing balance. Still working the hips, right? Okay, pretty good, right? And then you can shake that out, bounce your heels, shake your legs, and we'll take the other side. So weight into your right foot. Little bend in the right leg, you just hinge forward, hands touch the chair, left leg comes out behind, and then you come back. And then you repeat. Make sure you're breathing. And your breathing is supporting your shape. So the breathing contains the movement, right? Once you start to feel fatigued in that outer right glute, you can take a rest, shake it out, bounce your heels, and we'll try round 2. So round 2 could be a little bit lower. You could go to your blocks up on the highest setting. If that worked for you pretty well, the chair, stick with that. And you want to try this round with the blocks, you can. Weight in the left foot. And then you'll dip down, touch the blocks with your hands. Right leg goes behind. Kind of almost like a, right, warrior 3. Repeat. Repeat. Just dipping down. Left leg can have a little bend in it. You're still going to start to feel this fairly soon, I think. So once you start to feel that work in the outer left glute, you can stop, go maybe one more, then shake it out, bounce it out, and then we'll go to the other side. Spread your toes, use your feet, right? Use the strength in your feet to help with the balance. And then it's dip down, touch the blocks, back up. As you dip down, you reach the left leg long behind you. Great, and shake it out, bounce it out, bounce the heels. Okay, round 3, stay where you were. Maybe you go back to the chair, maybe you can go all the way to the floor. All right, so you can move the blocks away. Weight comes into your left hand or to your left foot, and then you're just gonna touch the ground, come back up. Touch the ground, right leg goes long, come back up. You decide what prop you're going to use. You're going to use the floor, the blocks, or the chair. And we're not too concerned here with how, just working the hips. So a couple more rounds. And then you can shake that out. And we'll try the other side. So spread the toes, really feel balanced on your feet, and then dip to touch the floor. Left leg goes behind, or the blocks, or the chair. And if you get off balance, that's okay, because that's really what balance is always just sort of coming back to that center point, right? We're always sort of in working into balance and coming out of balance. Great. And then bounce your heels, shake it out. And if you do have a portable chair at this point, you could take your portable chair and sit in it. Or if you have some furniture nearby, we're just gonna stretch out those outer hips. If you don't have a chair like that, no worries. Couple blocks, right? You can sit on your blocks and just cross one leg, one ankle onto the thigh. You could even be in Sukhasana to do this. We're just gonna relieve that outer hip. So one, I've got my left leg up, doesn't matter, just go one side here. You could be sitting right on the floor as well in Sukhasana. And see if you can breathe a little bit of relaxed energy into the outer hip. You could even be on your back in a figure four, right? Any of those things work. Okay, and then take the other side. And you probably have a tighter side. And remember that tightness often means weakness. So we want our muscles to be, we want them contracting smoothly, but we don't want them staying contracted. This is part of why sitting has become such an issue for our bodies, is because the hip flexors are contracted all the time, and then they become weaker, right? Great. So now we'll come back up wherever you are, come back up to standing. Set your blocks to the top of your mat. We'll go through a little sequence that looks a little bit more like yoga poses, right? It's all just part of the whole, but we'll go through a little sequence that looks more like yoga poses. So blocks to the top. I have mine on my top setting. And I'm gonna bend through my knees, have a soft Utkatasana, and put my weight into my left foot. Lifting my right foot off the ground, I'm going to drive my hips back until I can step back into warrior one. And as you step back, the arms can come up or not, doesn't matter. You could keep them at your hips. And then you kind of lean forward, rock forward, and bring your right foot back. Pretty simple, yeah? So a soft Utkatasana, weights in the left foot, drive your hips back and step back into warrior one. And then lean forward, pitch forward, come back to that soft Utkatasana. You could be pretty upright here. It's just a weight in one foot or the other. Let's try it a couple more times on this side, and we're going to add something. So weight in the left foot, drive the hips back, step back, warrior one. Lean forward, pitch forward, come right back. One more time. Step back, warrior one. And this time, hold or stay in your warrior one. Reach your arms up, okay? Because now we're going to pitch forward and find those blocks with our hands. So now we'll lean forward, pitch forward, find the blocks, and step our back leg comes up, right leg comes up, and we find warrior three. So find warrior three here. Right, hands on the blocks. Now you could take one hand to your heart center, then back to the block. Now try the other side, a little harder. The right side, the right hand, right? Back to the block. Good. Now reach your right foot back in space, bend through the front knee, and find warrior one again. Well done. Good. Okay, from here, we're going to hinge forward, rock forward, find the blocks again, maybe just momentarily come into warrior three and take both hands to heart center. Your back leg becomes like a rudder as you try to find that balance. And at any point, you can put your hands down the blocks or the chair. If the blocks are a little too low to the floor, you can use the chair. Okay? Reach your right leg back as you bend through your left knee and find warrior one again. Well done, everybody. Meeting in warrior one. Good. So now you're going to come forward and lift your right leg in space. Finding your balance here. Then take your right ankle to your left knee. Folding, hands to either right knee and right sole of your foot or to the blocks. And you will feel this in your outer hip, I'm pretty sure. If you have the ability to go and the desire to go all the way to the floor, you could do that. If you are if you have your hands on your knee and your sole of your foot, take them to your block now, release that leg, and then just sway your hips back and forth. Like really bring them one direction, the other direction. Okay, great. Good, hips back, soft Utkatasana. We try the other side now. So weight comes into the right foot. As you drive your hips back, step back, warrior one. Then, and you could keep your hands on your hips if you want, and then pitch forward, lean forward, come back, that Utkatasana shape. Weight into the right foot, drive your hips back, step back, warrior one. Pitch forward, come back or step back into Utkatasana. Let's go one more time. We'll meet in warrior one. And now we're gonna reach forward, pitch forward. Back foot could even come a little step, and then you reach for your blocks or the chair, seat of the chair, and come into warrior three. Square your hips to the floor. Reaching through that top leg. So imagine the top leg, the lifted leg, is just, it's standing just like the standing leg is. It's standing against something invisible. Good. Bend through your front knee, reach your back foot, and come back in to warrior one. We'll do that whole sequence again. So you're back in warrior one, and then we pitch forward, lean forward, hands come to the block, lift the back leg, pressing firmly into that invisible wall behind you, square your hips. Then reach with that left foot, find the floor, warrior one. Okay, this time we're going to try to go to warrior three, but lift the hands off the blocks. So I think it works a little better if you kind of reach, lean, get there, just stay there momentarily, maybe touch the blocks, and then try to bring your hands to heart center. Beautiful. And then step back, warrior one. And come back to the Utkatasana, but now cross the left ankle on the right knee. This may be enough for you to challenge balance. You can have your hands on the chair, or if you've got it still going on here, hands to knee and inside of the left foot, or right down to the blocks. Some of you might be able to go to the floor here as well, or lower the blocks to a different setting. Okay, release that foot. Sit your hips back, Utkatasana, stand up, Tadasana, and find just a nice, easy balance, Tadasana. Still in a standing balance, even in Tadasana. right? It's just 2 feet versus 1. And you can relax, shake out your legs, bounce your heels, take your block now and set your block down on its lowest setting. Have your other block available as well, but there's lots of options here. So we'll go to Vrikasana with either with a block or without, or with 2 blocks. If you have the ability to use 1 block, it really encourages this standing leg to get really strong. So as you stand up, you feel that outer hip engage. Then you can hover the opposite foot alongside. And then lift right knee, turn it out, and step into Vrikasana. If you fall out, you fall out. It's no big deal. You could stay, or you can play with taking your right foot forward to the side, behind, maybe even back across your midline. Really working the balancing muscles in your feet and ankles. Alternatively, and also, you could try 2 blocks. Bigger step. All you hikers out there, you're stepping up, finding that engagement, that really deep engagement as you step up onto the 2 blocks. Lots of choices. So wherever you are, come off the blocks, come off the block, or come to standing. Shake out your legs, bounce your heels. And we'll go for second side. So again, if you have a block, it's really nice just to work with this 1 block. Now we're going right foot on the block. We stand up and we pull that, really engage the outer hip, and hover the other foot right beside it. You can stay right here. You know, this is good work right here. Bend the left knee out to the side with it and find Vrikasana. Draw the navel in towards midline. Engaging the core. Maybe extend the leg out to the side, behind, across. Helps to find something to focus on. Whoa. Out in front of you. You could even try that same crossing the ankle to the knee. Bend the standing leg, bring your hands to your knee and your inner sole. It's the same thing we did standing, but now I'm just on a block, so I'm having to work the balance a little bit. Release. Very fun. And bounce your heels. Shake your legs. Ooh, bounce your heels, shake your legs. Good. Take a walk around your space, around your mat. And find downward facing dog. Inhale to cow. Exhale, forearms to the floor, child's pose. Inhale to cow. Exhale, turn toes under, downward facing dog. Let's find 3-legged dog. So bring your left foot in towards midline and extend the right leg out behind you. Now, when you do this, you gotta press into your hands and find that square balance with the hands, right? So press equally, and I'm pressing a little bit harder into my left hand. And then you can open up, bend your right knee and stack. Press into your right hand firmly. Stack your right hip over your left. And then bring your hips back to square. Bring your knee in towards your chest and take your right leg underneath you across to the left. Back to downward dog. Feet nice and wide as the edges of your mat. Set your heels towards the floor. And then inhale, cow. We've got one more side to do. Exhale, forearms to the floor, hips back. Big breath here. Fill that back body space. Then on the next inhale, cow. Turn toes under, exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot comes in slightly. Inhale the left leg up. Press firmly through both hands. Find that good balance in this three-legged dog. Bend your left knee and stack your left hip over your right. Press firmly with the left hand here. Stack, open up, feel that standing leg is working hard, and the extended leg is getting a nice opening in the hip flexor. And then you can square your hips, bring your knee towards your chest, and reach your left leg over to the right. You got it. Both feet now, downward dog. Inhale to cow. Exhale, forearms to the floor, hips back. Child's pose. Let's take full child's pose. You can always put something between your thighs and your calves. Reach your arms now back. The arms are alongside your body, really rounding, spreading your back body. And then take your hands to your heels. Keep your head touching the floor and just kind of lift your back up towards the ceiling. Most of the pressure here is in your calves, your knees. You kind of pull on the heels, pull on your heels with your hands isometrically, and see if you can really get a nice spreading in your back body. And then release, go back down, child's pose. And then hands just beside you, press yourself up so that you're sitting on your heels now. Take your hips over to the left and your feet over to the right. Hips over to the left, feet over to the right. And bring your right hand to the outside of your left leg. Come into a twist. Just really start to relax now. Start to slow yourself down. Good. You come back through center and just pop yourself back to the table. Take your feet over to the left, your hips over to the right. Opposite side. Bring your left hand to the outside of your right leg and twist to the right. And you come back to center. You can extend your legs long. Scoot your butt towards your heels. Take the back of your legs and roll yourself down. Anything else that is calling to you? You might want that figure 4 again. Or if you're ready just to drop now into Shavasana, another twist, whatever feels like a good finish for you. Really extend the exhale here. extend the exhale to come back into that resting or stillness or stopping before you have to move on to the next thing in your day. Give yourself this gift of space. Taking your time in Shavasana as long as you like. Rolling to one side or coming back to a seat. Bringing hands to heart center. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whenever you're practicing, I see you and I see your brilliance. Namaste.